Hello and welcome to Weekly Art Roundup, where I document all the things art related that I have done for the week and what I hope to achieve for the coming week. So hopefully I can inspire budding artists and non-artists to keep working on their own journeys. Today I will show you what I've been up to with my morning sketches, learning about drawing horse anatomy, and even the first few oil paintings I tried and mostly failed at, but I'll get into that a little bit later. I have been experimenting with painting on cardboard, and I also have a few thoughts to share about growing through this experience this week. And I use the term week loosely because I had a bit of a false start, I'll be honest, with the series. I recorded the first video about 2 weeks or so ago, and I got really overwhelmed with the amount of extra work I was giving myself, and something inside me just refused to do anything about it. And it was frustrating to think that I wasted that time. But it happens, and it happens all the time with me. But here I am showing up again right now. So I'll start with the morning sketches. And here we go. I haven't really been doing them every morning. I find that I either do them with my morning coffee or I'll read while having that morning coffee. And I've been reading a bit lately, so most of the morning sketches are the ones you see recorded, unless the recording has failed. I did have a few failed recordings this week, actually. I tried to record them on the kitchen table, but the light was so unpredictable that it didn't seem to record very well. So for now, I'm tied to the workbench right here, which is fine. I just thought it would be nice to record elsewhere. And I think the only way that I'm going to be able to do that and be more mobile while recording is if I clean out my phone and use that. But it's only 32 gigabytes, so it fills up really quickly, and it's just a pain in the ass to download all my data from the cloud. But I might try it out one day if I do clean out my phone. So this was the last morning sketch. I think I've got that recorded, so that might be coming up today. We'll see. That was, yeah. All right, so that's done. Let's take a look at the anatomy studies I did since the last video. I finished this big scrapbook. I finished this one. And then I thought, why not dedicate one of these little ones? Oh, actually, I forgot to show you, not that one. There are some other morning sketches in here that I did in this little book. They're not very good, but it was just 2 pages. I don't know if these are one of the failed recordings or not. But yeah, these are cute little faces. But yeah, all right, so that's that done. All right, so let's take a look at the anatomy studies I did since the last video. These ones we know about. I think this is the page that we were up to in this book. I have been struggling with the reference pictures that I'm using. Some are inaccurate, or I don't understand what's going on. And they're not in 3/4 view, which, you know, sometimes you need that 3/4 view just to get a good understanding. So to overcome this, just trying to get that in, because the pencil does glare a lot. So to overcome that, I'm going to spend some time overlaying what I know on top of photos of horses and see how close I can get to drawing it in a way that looks right. And I'll be using my tablet. I'll be using my tablet for that. My Wacom, it's decades old. And I'm going to do that on the computer just so I can draw right on top of the photo, because I can't print them out right now, and hopefully that'll fill in some of my gaps in my knowledge. There's another page. And I did some gestures as well. I don't know if you can quite see that. I'll put up an overlay of the work that I did, and that was the last page. Still working with the neck, getting into the shoulders. So that's that one. Let's start with this little one. Because I finished that scrapbook, I thought, why not dedicate a sketchbook to horse study? So that's what I did. This is my spare stone paper notebook that I had laying around. And so I started drawing my studies again, starting from the skulls and working my way through. Obviously, I'm not finished. But I did quite a few of them working my way up the body. These are the skulls. I keep hitting a snag because it's too hard for my little brain to take all this in and remember it. I would get frustrated. I mean, I do. I get frustrated so easily. I get hung up on a detail and I have trouble moving on from it. That's why I did this, because there were so many details I got hung up on. And at one stage I thought I had to know every little thing, every little muscle, their origin and insertion points. It was just too overwhelming for me. And I had to stop myself. I had to stop myself from that hyper focus on one thing and having that stop my overall progress, because it was stopping it. So to overcome that, I am reminding myself that I don't need a doctorate level knowledge and that I can just take an overall approach from an artist perspective. It sounds like a plan, but I find myself getting stuck over trying to identify all the little lumps, all of these little lumps. There's some of the thing is, some of the superficial muscles are affected by the ones that are underneath, the deeper ones. So it feels like I'm back to square one with having to know everything. But I don't know. Each time it reaches that critical point of frustration. But when it gets to that critical point, I'm going to take a break and just try and figure out, why do I need to know this part? And do I actually need to know it? Does it affect the way that I might draw a horse? And the rest I can learn as I go. This is trying to figure out the 3/4, which is very hard and it's out of proportion, but that's fine. I mean, I don't have to know it all right away. That's just silly. I can give myself extra time to learn what I need to for now, and the rest can come later. That's as far as I got. That was last night. So that's that. All right, let's move on to the paintings I have done since last time. And it's not as much as I thought I would have done. I have four. We'll see if I can fit them in the frame. Oh. I have 4. Can't really fit them in. Also, it's still wet. All right. Well, there's 4. We'll go through them. All right. The first one was the skull, and I didn't enjoy doing this at all. The paint just slipped everywhere. And it felt like it wasn't adhering to the cardboard, and I felt really clumsy. I think it was this little painting attempt that made me stall for a bit, because I didn't know what I was doing wrong. But then I came back to try again, and the experience was totally different. The paint felt like it was adhering to the surface, and I was actually having fun. I was using a limited palette and just really enjoyed playing with this, and this is what it felt like. It felt like playtime, and I liked that. And also that the result was coming along nicely really helped with that feeling too. Next, we have this one, which was another struggle. It was a struggle for a number of reasons. The paint, again, wasn't adhering to the cardboard. It's still wet. It was just slipping around, and if I make a brush stroke too hard, it would just take the paint off. And right away I could tell that this was going to be a challenge to keep my spirits up while painting. I wanted to practice with colour, so I limited my palette, but then it started feeling too blue and it was too cold. There's a bit of glare there. And I knew I didn't have the knowledge to fix it. I did try adding some warm light in there. You can see underneath. But I don't know if that was enough. Thinking about it now, I think it's because I didn't have a colour plan like I did with the gouache ones that I did last time. So what I might do, if I remember, is to set aside one of the smaller pieces of cardboard to play with the range of colours before I start painting like I did before. So that's that one. And then we have the most recent, which is this one. It's not too bad. I actually like the colours, but the values, I'll get into that. But I decided I need to do some detective work when it comes to what's going on with the slipperiness, because this was a little bit slippery, but it wasn't as bad as some of the others. I need to do some experiments, and I was thinking that it might be my homemade gesso. It doesn't have enough grip to it, which I might be able to fix by adding more chalk to it. But this piece was done on 2 coats of store-bought gesso. I did notice this earlier painting. It felt really good to paint. It might have actually just been plain cardboard without any prep on it, because it just might have got mixed in with the ones that are already being prepped, because you can see oil is coming through the back. Which isn't too much of a big deal, really. I think, because these are just scraps. But I do want to figure out what my preference is for a prepped surface, so hopefully it's one that I can make myself cheaply. I'm going to try one with just poster paint and then a chalkier version of my own gesso again, and I might try just doing one with just a plain acrylic undercoat paint and see if that works. And I also thought I might try some shellac, if I can get some shellac flakes. That surely one of these is going to work out. Well, at least that's my hope. So I do have some diary entries. So this is the diary section. There are a lot of gaps in my diary. I won't show it because there is some personal stuff in there. There are a lot of gaps. I did have good intentions, as I always do, but, I think that before the gap it was, I'll do some weekly planning for next week, and then there was just nothing. All right, well, there is an entry for the first painting, so I'll read it to you. I tried my first oil painting on a piece of cardboard, which didn't go the way that I wanted. The paint I left on my palette from last time, which was several days before when I was testing out the tubes of paint and their colours, was dried out, so I had nowhere to mix my paint between the blobs of the already hardened paint. And it also seemed to slip around on the cardboard when I was painting. I don't know if it's because of my homemade gesso I used to seal the surface, or the decades old brushes I was using are too stiff, or maybe it's the decades old paint. Each brush stroke was streaking as if I were using a wire brush or too much thinner. I could see the surface underneath each stroke no matter how desperately I tried to blend it all in. I felt I had no control and I wasn't enjoying myself because nothing I was doing seemed to work out. My mood started to take a dive. I felt helpless and useless. I went and sulked for the rest of the day. Not good. Not ideal, I know. But I felt I needed to work through and allow myself that time to process. I also know I will come back to the table and I will try to work it out. I will try again. I know these are just teething problems. I'm trying to think of it as gaining problem-solving experience. These are basic things that I will need to know, and I will try again tomorrow. And I did just that. The next day's entry was for this one. I showed up to paint again. This time it went better. I had more fun than last time. The paint wasn't slipping around, so I got to enjoy the process some. I am still just learning about how to handle the paint, how I will lay it out, mix it and apply it. Not so much learning about how to paint a horse yet. I don't know if I should use an underdrawing or not. I did consider that. I was wondering whether I should do an underdrawing, because you can also do an underdrawing with a bit of the oil paint as well. So the jury's out on that one. I don't know. It would be nice to have some stuff that was already pre-prepared, but we'll see. I also think that was exactly what I needed to experience, so it doesn't feel like a complete slog to learn. I took a few days break and I wrote about other things in my diary, the books I was reading and what I was doing, that kind of thing. I won't read them out because they are more personal entries. There are also some entries about how many recordings I failed to create. I don't know what I was doing. They just weren't turning out. I usually do a quick audio test before recording a sketch and chat in particular, but yeah, this one time I didn't, and there's no audio, so go figure. It serves me right though. So I have over an hour's footage of me drawing in the anatomy sketchbook, but with no sound. And then there were a few others that were just bad for whatever reason, so I just wrote stuff about how frustrating that was. But anyway, the next entry to read out is this one. I tried to do I tried to do another colour study with oil on cardboard, but I don't think it went well. The paint was slipping around again and the brush marks would scrape through to the surface so easily. I'm not sure why one works and the others don't. I might have to do some testing. As for the colour study, it feels messy, like I was just mixing paint around. I found the values hard to establish, but also hard to keep consistent. It looks very cool tone. I'm not sure if maybe too cool tone. Perhaps I should switch to gouache until I figure out why the paint is slipping and not adhering to the cardboard. I just don't want to make that an excuse to cop out of oil painting. Did I enjoy it? I wanted to, but the more I tried, the more futile it felt, so I had to call it before I got too frustrated. I don't much like my result though. And this was it. This was that result. Which is still damp. And that was from a few days ago. And this one was from yesterday, was it? I'm not sure. I haven't dated these. So this is the last one, the last entry. I painted again today. The store-bought gesso, it went well. I felt I had a bit more control without the slip I had to deal with before. I could concentrate on paint handling instead. I still feel like an absolute beginner, a toddler trying to paint without the motor skills and cognition skills to do what I want, and being in that messy stage. I'm learning again, and that's what matters. I liked today's painting, and I enjoyed my time with the brush. I also wish I had labelled all of the mystery jars just to know what's in it. Obviously, that was something that was on my mind that day. I think the mystery jars is because I had made up a few jars of stuff to use with oil painting, but for some reason I didn't label them. I know what's in most of them. I remember what's in most of them, but there is a couple of jars. There's one jar that is a bit suspicious. I think that day when I wrote that, I had dipped my brush in the mystery jar by mistake instead of the brush dip jar I had made. Anyway, as you can see, I need to sort out my painting surfaces so that I can concentrate on actually learning how to paint. I don't want to use my good supplies because I do have some, but I don't want to use them at this stage because I think it's too early. But I do need to paint on something without having those control issues that I've been having. So I will do more testing and I will let you know which one works. And yeah, I might do a few gouache ones in the meantime just so I can concentrate on the colours and the brush strokes and the actual painting of horses. So I'll just put this up here in the glare where you can't see. Well, this one still feels, this was the first one. This still feels a little bit tacky. Didn't realise. But this one, yeah, I think this one didn't have any, I think this one didn't have any prep on it because it's not shiny. It was fun to paint. It was fun to paint. But it's, yeah, I think it's bleeding through. I don't know yet whether to care about that or not. So, let's bring this up. Let's move this away. So, did I reach my goals from the last video? I have it right here, so let's see. Start at least one oil painting? Yes. I'll put a big tick. I don't have a big blue tick. Yes. Check. 4 pages of anatomy studies. Yes. 3 colour studies. Yes. Actually did 4. So that's quite good. Not be perfect. Well, yeah. Colours, mixing accurately. Yeah, I'm still working on that. And also still working on practicing the brush strokes. All right. So, off with that one. Off with it. I'm going to write this in blue this time since I've got it right here. I'm just really glad that I started with the oils though. I'm really glad that I did that. Because that's a big barrier. That was a big barrier for me to break last time. So let's set the goals for this coming week. Yeah, I want to continue figuring out testing. Oh God, can't write one of the words. Hang on. Scratch that. Test more surfaces. So let's say underneath that, 2 experiments. This was for week 3. All right, so that's the first one. Second goal, so messy. I'll get better. All right. Yeah, do two gouache studies. Third goal. I think the 4 pages of anatomy. Yeah, let's write that down. Because I'll be doing them in this book, so 4 pages feels like a lot, but it might not be. So we'll see how we go with that. I also want to do. Oh, because the thing is that I want to. Yeah, I need to write this down. Work on whole body. So identifying what I can see and working that way. You know, the stuff that's visible from the surface, so that I can actually start drawing the whole horse. 2 pages of gestures as well. So this goes in the. I guess this is the study section. Oh, I'm going to run out of. I like that I did that page in the scrapbook, and I feel that it will deepen my understanding of proportion and how the horse moves and the fluidity of it all. That's a lot of work for 1 week, but I will do my best to achieve this, and hopefully without burning out again. I think using my morning sketches to draw other things helps with that. So I might even try painting a few other things here and there, just to keep things a little bit interesting, because I can feel that, you know, I'm starting to feel like I want to draw something else. But I think this will do for now. So I'll keep this on top. I think these are good goals for the week. And yeah. All right, so we're at the end, and I hope going through my learning process is interesting enough to watch, and might even give you a few ideas to try yourself. Let me know in the comments, or just leave a like to say that you reached to the end. Anyway, if you would like to see more, consider subscribing and come back to check out the progress with this series occasionally. And I will see you next week, hopefully. And thank you for watching. Bye.